Hello and welcome along to Africa's biggest football braai. Yes, it's that time. Get the beers cracking, get the Coca-Colas cracking, get whatever you want. It's on the whistle time. Good people, thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Zayn Nabbi, and today we're talking CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup. Joining me on the show, as always, is our resident expert, our man who's won the PSL, Courtney Freese. Courtney, always a pleasure, never a chore. But our very special guest today is the coach of Marumo Gallants, Dylan Kerr, whose mighty South African Warriors have qualified for the Confederation Cup. Dylan, you must be buzzing. You beat Pyramids 2-1 on aggregate over the two legs, 1-0 in the second leg in your quarterfinal at Royal Bafokeng. How are you feeling, coach?
Oh, well, it's nice to be back on the show again. It's been a long time. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't sleep last night. When we go back to the hotel, everybody was on a buzz, and I actually was quite somber because for the first time, I actually saw a professional and hard-working performance. Probably the best performance I've ever seen a team that I've had in South Africa against a very, very good team from Egypt, who came not to sit back and counter, but came to try and go to the semi-finals. And it was one of those games that before I was a wee bit nervous because I didn't want us to be overexcited because we got a result in Egypt, but I was ultra disappointed that we didn't come away with 4 goals in Egypt, which would have made the game a lot easier. But from the onset, we took control of the game, especially in the first half, and we played some sublime football. It really, really was. And like I said, it was professional. It wasn't like it wasn't typical South African football. It was done in a way that you could look at it and say, wow, this could actually be played in Europe. Obviously North Africa, they kind of market themselves on physicality, on mentality and strength of the way the European football is played. But we matched them, both attacking wise and defending wise, and we got the result. And again, we could have scored 3 or 4 goals. Their keepers made 3 great saves, and then Ruby, he's made 1 save the whole game, and he kept us in the game. I think it was 20 minutes to go. So. I didn't really celebrate the way that the players did. It was really good to take in that kind of a performance, if you understand what I'm saying.
Dylan, firstly, tell us, where are you at the moment, Dylan?
I'm in Maritzburg. Well, you would call it God's country, but it's I prefer Umhlanga, but.
Maritzburg, I pity you. I do not like the city. I never want to go
Durban.
there.
Zayn's from Durban.
The only thing I know,
Durban people don't get along.
The only thing I know is you drive in on the bus, you see that funny rugby stadium Woodburn, and you see the triple X sign for the movie shop that people like us don't hang out in.
I've been here, I don't know how many times, and the only thing I've ever seen is the racecourse and the football ground. And that's we're playing tomorrow. No, we're playing on Wednesday against Maritzburg. It's a 6-pointer. It's another cup final. We've come down. I specifically asked to come down 2 days before because of if you think about it, we've played 9 games. No, we played 8 games in 24 days. And we've travelled to Egypt, and we've travelled to Bloemfontein. We've been in Polokwane. We've had an horrendous fixture schedule, and it's going to get worse because I'm told that the Sundowns game is going to be played next Saturday. For a mentality and physicality approach, I decided to ask the chairman if we could drive down. Obviously, to cut costs on flights and the coach hire once you're in Durban, that we could spend an extra night in Pietermaritzburg in preparation and recovery for what's going to be probably the game of our season. And Maritzburg, if I'm honest.
Well, yes, the relegation battle in the PSL at the moment is really hotting up. I think that's actually the way to look at the table. Don't look at the top, look at the bottom, because you have Peter Marisburg who's on 26 points. A few wins could get them out, but they're just void of confidence.
Northern.
Solid, they've jumped up the table after their win on 34 points.
Yeah, it's that's what this league is at this kind of season. You know, I'm disappointed that we didn't beat TS Galaxy when we absolutely hammered them. We just couldn't score. It was one of those games, and I couldn't blame the players for the performance. They just didn't have that quality in front of goal. We should have beaten Chiefs. You know, that was another 2 points and would have been safe. But you know, it's everybody's fighting for their lives in this PSL. Who would have thought Maritzburg, when Fadlu took over, they had 3 wins on the bounce. He was talking about top 8. The same with Chipper when Morgan, you know, the CEO, not a coach by the way, is a CEO, and it's kind of embarrassing that, you know, a C license holder can actually coach in the Premier League. No disrespect to Morgan, you know, I love Morgan, but you know, it makes a mockery of the football in this country when every club in the rest of the world, you have to have a minimum A license to coach in any league and a pro license to coach in the top leagues. Even CAF, you've got to have a pro license, and I haven't got that because unfortunately I'm not being able to take. There's no courses in Africa that are doing the CAF, and I can't go back to Scotland or England to do it if I'm based in Africa. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough. Everybody wants to stay in the Premier League because that's where the money is. So, like I said, this one on Wednesday, you know, they've had a week off to plan and to prepare. We're having 2 days, and then we've got 1 day to prepare for Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday, before we travel to Yanga.
Dylan, before we come back to talking about the victory against Pyramids, which I must say I watched the game, and I'll use the term functional performance. I'd like to just get into the details, because you spoke about the trip from Rustenburg. Now, people that know South Africa very well, the trip from Rustenburg to Pietermaritzburg must be over 10 hours by coach. But now you're in Pietermaritzburg. What facilities are you using to prepare for this massive game? Who's given you facilities?
Well, it's quite funny because I'm very, very friendly with the hotel management, because, you know, with my personality, I'm not shy to engage with, you know, people in the hotel, people in the casino. You know, I take time out to speak to the staff, the waitresses, the waiters, the kitchen staff. I'll go and, you know, make myself available. I don't, you know, if somebody wants to speak to me, somebody wants to have a selfie, you know, I give my time, and I think they appreciate that. And because the race course is at the casino as well, you know, what I've done previously with the other teams that we've come to Pietermaritzburg, we always do something light on the race course. There's a little bit of land. Well, it's a lot of big piece of land. Excuse me, but it's good enough to do a practice session and a training session. But there's nothing we can, you know, I haven't been able to do a proper training session since I've been at this club, believe it or not. I've not been able to say, right, this is for the next 3 days, we're going to work on X,
Why
Y,
is
Z.
that, Dylan? That would surprise a lot of people, given how well resourced the PSL is.
Because we've just had an horrendous fixture list, which it's absolutely been horrendous. The travel, you know, we've played in Bloemfontein, we've played in Rustenburg, we've just recently moved back to Polokwane because the PSL have stipulated that we have to pay Polokwane, because I think clubs were, you know, a bit pissed off really at not knowing where they were going to play, so they couldn't plan or prepare, you know, whether we're going to go to Polokwane, Rustenburg, or Bloemfontein. You know, Bloemfontein's the dream, you know, because the fans are just, you know, they're absolutely magnificent. They live and breathe football down there. And we took a few games down there, and you know, there was 10, 15,000 Bloemfontein Celtic fans, be it, that came and supported Gallants. But I think the most time I've ever had on a training field to plan and prepare proper game is 2 days. You know, and it's difficult, and people don't understand that. They don't understand, you know, that if you can, you're actually basically doing your preparation on a video screen, and because I've got all the tools that are mine, you know, that I'm not borrowing them off anybody. I'm not copying them off anything, because it's the way I like to work when I'm doing my video analysis. You know, Courtney will know. The last thing players need to be doing is sitting in a room watching a video for an hour and a half, because after 20 minutes, the attention span's gone. You know, they can't wait to get on the phone. They can't wait to talk to the guy next to them. So I make sure that the analysis the day before is 30 minutes finished. You know, and it's generally suited to, you know, the opposition, what they do, their strengths, their weaknesses. Because what we do is, you know, is we're on a different level, you know, of training. So I have to make sure that we prepare right, not just, you know, mentally, but physically, because you can't change a winning team. You can't chop and change, you know, and rotate players when you're winning, because you're putting the game at risk, you know. But I've also got to think about the tiredness and the legs of these players, and that's something tomorrow I've got to have a really, really good think about, and I'll see that tomorrow when we do a rondo, when we do a little small-sided game, because we can't do much. I can't have the players out on that field for an hour and a half when we've got a game the next day. So everything's bump off. Get to the pool, have a swim, get a recovery, and then, you know, get yourself mentally ready up here for the game against Maritzburg.
So then, coming back to the Pyramids game, and you know, this is such a highlight for South Africa, and also for Gallants and yourself as well as a manager of the team. What do you think was the difference in the performance? Because I watched the game, I was a bit worried about the height of the players. I was looking at them; they're quite big boys. So I thought set pieces may go against you guys, but you're putting a very functional performance. How did you set your team up for that 1-0 victory?
Well, when we played away, you know, obviously I'm in the stand, so I can't really, when there's noise in the crowd, you can't really do anything from the stand. You try and scream as loud as you can, but, you know, either they're ignoring you or they just can't hear. I'll go for the latter. But in the first half, we struggled. They played 4-2-3-1. The two number sixes, they, you know, basically ran the show in the first half. And I just wanted to get into half-time not conceding, which we did. You know, which we did. We didn't concede. And then at half-time, I didn't change any player. I just changed the way we were playing. I then decided to go 4-3-3. But basically, it was a 4-4-1-1 that we were playing. But when we were attacking, it was 4-3-3. When we were defending, 4-4-1, 4-4-1-1. But as I said previously with the video analysis, one of the things that I hate in South Africa, in Africa, right, when you do free kicks and corners and anything, and it's 30 degrees of heat, and you're studying in it for 20, 30, 40 minutes, the quality is not good enough. The crosses are not good enough. You know, the players are not interested. They don't show that professionalism that they do possibly in Europe. They haven't got that same mentality that, right, we're going to do this for 40 minutes. Let's tune in. Let's make it right. It doesn't work like that. And I can understand with the heat, you know, it takes it out of you. So what I do, I make sure that I cover every single set piece from not the last game, but probably 4, 5, 6 games previous. You know, and this is where the analysis comes in, and I make sure that, you know, everybody knows where the ball's going to go, because 9 times out of 10 teams don't change the set pieces from one game to the next. You know, they'll still go for the big lad at the front post. They'll still go for the big man at the far post. Majority goes into the 6-yard box. So you've just got to say, right, this is the areas that the ball's going to go. You make sure that you're first. No excuse. Don't, if somebody's in front of you and think it's his ball, don't care. You'll go and win it. And if you smack him in the head or you put your knee in his back, tough. Just don't. And that's what we did yesterday. That's what we did yesterday. We knew the threat came from their set pieces. That's the only way I said they were going to score, from a free kick or a corner. and we dealt with it. We dealt everything. You know, I don't think we lost it. I think we lost one header in the whole 90 minutes.
You know, just to remind listeners out there and viewers out there, this is a team that is sitting third in the Egyptian Premier League. This is a team that is one of the richest on the African continent. This is a team that's very well resourced. They change their coaches pretty regularly. And for you to orchestrate that victory for Gallants, Dylan, and I think you referenced this earlier, it's one of the best performances you've had as a manager. Would you say that, or the best?
It's the most professional and hard-working performance. I was because of the result. I mean, we in the second half in Egypt, we took the mickey out. We really played good football. They couldn't get near us. Unfortunately, we gave the penalty away in the last minute. And the confidence of the players, the happiness of the players, the way that they've been since we came back from Egypt in preparation. I was a little bit worried we were going to be overconfident, or they're coming back into our territory where it's going to be easier for us because we did it in their backyard, and we really did, you know, do things the right way. I made sure that I got everything covered. You know, even again, I'm in the crowd. It was free entry into Rustenburg. There was probably about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people there, and we're playing the trombones, beating the drums, and singing and dancing as they do. So again, you can't get any messages across. And I think it was after about 20 minutes, I give the message. I actually wrote the message to the TM and sent it to the bench. And I said to them, stop forcing the play. Make sure that we don't lose our shape. And when we get the ball, stop trying to always score. And after that, there was just one team in it. You know, they had to get a goal. They were desperate for a goal. We defended brilliantly. We worked hard in midfield to keep the ball. And up front, we linked up and kept the ball and created opportunities. We scored the first goal. The keeper made a great save. 5 minutes after that, he made another great save. Second half, we had one cut back, and it didn't reach the striker, but it was a tap in. Ranga had a good shot saved, and Zizou had a second shot saved, and then we hit the ball at the bar in the last minute. They had one chance. They had two chances really. One, the South African hit wide, and the other one, the goalkeeper, my goalkeeper Ruby, saved it. So it was a massive win. Like you said, nobody expected Pyramids to lose. Even their press, you know, were surprised at how good we were in Egypt. And to be fair, they gave us a lot of good compliments after the game. And I must say though that the you know the behaviour of the Egyptians on the bench is criminal. It's unbelievable. I mean,
could you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that, Dylan?
They've just got no discipline. They've got no respect. They absolutely ripped the linesman to bits. The fourth official, every single challenge, they were off. All of them were off the bench. Not just the coach, not just the trainer, not just the player. They were all off the bench. The last 15 minutes, not one of them was sat on the bench. They were all in the dugout area, you know. And there was so much lack of respect for the game, you know. But you know, it is known in North Africa that these things happen. You know, it may happen more frequently there than it does in South Africa. But I mean, it just shows the lack of respect to the opponents. That every time the linesman gave a decision, there were 3, 4, 5 players basically on him. You know, and the fourth officials and even the match commissioner did nothing. I just spoiled, like you said, what Pyramids are. And if you didn't know, Pyramids have got one of the most amazing soccer villages I've ever seen. An amazing stadium.
It is a thing of beauty. There's been a lot of investment.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. And they were devastated they lost yesterday. They were devastated they were knocked out. But I thought over the 2 games, we thoroughly deserved that. And I'm hoping that that momentum of that game will carry on to the game on Wednesday against Maritzburg. You know, because like I said, it was a very, very good, hardworking, professional. As you know, Courtney, what did you say we were? Functional.
That's the word he used, functional. He's just on mute.
Yeah. So
yeah. The word is functional. You know, not attractive, but manager-like.
Yeah, it was like I said, we
that's how I describe you to people. Not attractive, but very functional.
I'm glad you said that.
Dylan, I have to ask you, as you look ahead to the semi-finals, you're going to Tanzania, you're playing young Africans. It's a part of the world you know well, a man who coached Simba. What is that going to be like heading back there?
Well, it was quite funny because last year when Chiefs played Simba, I hope I still got it. One of the goalkeeper coach, Tyson, who was at Simba, he brought me a Simba shirt back, and I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yes,
Yanga versus Marumo Gallants. Love that. Love it.
He had my name printed on the back of it. So that's already going around Tanzania. So I'm hated by the Green Army and loved by the Red Army. But yeah, look, I don't know if well, you probably know, but the shenanigans that goes on in Tanzania. I mean, we have got to do our homework. We've got to make sure that we don't tell anybody where we're staying. We have our own chef that we're going to try and source in Tanzania, because we know that I've been through it when I was at Gormire when we were in Kenya. We refused to get changed in the dressing rooms. We found pellets in the air conditioning system that made you feel sick, you know. And the players,
wow,
the previous year, they didn't realise that, but and they lost to Simba, but they were all complaining that they were feeling lethargic, tired, and sick. You know, that sickly feeling in them. So when we played them in 2018, we refused to go in the dressing rooms. We actually changed. We changed in the tunnel.
No.
We had to change. Honestly, we were not going to go in the dressing rooms. You know, and I've the messages I've got from people in Tanzania that they're going to bribe the players. The officials are going to get. It's how football is. You know, that's how they work. You know, I know firsthand. I know how it works. You know, I've been in the Simba Yanga derby. I know what shenanigans the board members get up to with certain players. They want to win. Yanga want to make sure that they rub Simba's noses in it. You know, and we've got to go there. We've got to find the right place for one. We've got to make sure that we book our own bus, two. You know, so everything's got to be done that we don't get any distractions. You know, we don't want Yanga fans coming and, you know, keeping the players awake all night, you know, all morning by making noise and doing crazy stuff. You would think it's part and parcel of the game, but it's not. But we're looking forward to it. And I actually said to the players before the Pyramids game, the first leg, we get to the we win the quarterfinals, we get Yanga in the semi-finals, and I think we can beat Yanga both away from home and at home. Away is going to be difficult, but it's the first leg. But we can definitely. And I've said to them, guys, in the 3 months that I've been at the club, we're unbeaten in the league. I think I've lost 2 games in CAF and a Nedbank Cup game. And we're in this bubble, and don't let anybody burst this bubble. And mainly, don't you yourselves burst this bubble. Let's stay in this bubble. Let's keep this bubble floating. Let's keep this bubble alive, and let's go and make history by getting to the final and then winning it.
And best of luck to you so that bubble continues. If I may, Courtney, just with one more question. I'm hogging the ball right now. You know what it's like. Once you buy Dylan one drink, you want to get him 15. But this is my last drink, coach, and then we'll give it to Courtney. You said that if you get young Africans, you think you would beat them. Why is that? Why is it that you think that? What is it when you look at the team? Let me phrase the question this way: that you see is their biggest weakness and their biggest strength. So, yeah.
Well, I watched the game last night, 2:00 in the morning. That's another reason I didn't sleep. I know what to expect in Tanzania. I've got to prepare my players to be very, very mentally strong because there's 80,000 Tanzanians, 40 supporting Yanga, 40 supporting Simba. You know, I'm praying that the Simba fans haven't forgotten me and that they will, you know, come and support Marumo. But I just feel that the way we've played, the way we've conducted ourselves, the way we've not only played good football, we've not only played attacking football, we've not only played in a way that other clubs don't seem to play that we've played against. I've got a strong belief that these players, you know, have got the right character, having come through so much since before I joined, you know, where they were known as a good footballing side but couldn't score. Now we're a good footballing side that can score, and we always look like scoring. So I'm optimistic that the character of these players and the attitude of these players, that they see, you know, how we've changed the fortunes and how we've changed the belief in them since I came is working, and you know they seem to be doing that. They seem to be doing that, and I think that's that's one of the things that's going to give us the advantage. But then again, like I say, you know, you never know what's going to happen behind the scenes in Tanzania.
We're winding down the podcast. We're hitting near the end. I want to ask you two questions related to the CAF Champions League. And the one is we're down to the final four there. We had some exciting quarterfinals at the weekend, but we have exciting finals to look forward to in the premier competition on the continent. Sundowns are going to play the current champs, Wydad Casablanca, and the giants that are Al Ahly will face off against Esperance from Tunisia. I have to ask you, when you look at that final four, who do you think are the favorites and who do you think will win the tournament?
Well, I've only watched Al Ahly and Sundowns, and I know a lot about Esperance. I know how they work. Again, you know, it's very intimidating when you play in these countries. The supporters are absolutely mental. They're brilliant. I mean, you don't get support like that in any other world country. You know, the fanatics, and I love it. I love them. You know, I mean, the Esperance game, there was riots in the home stand. You know, because it was such a big game, and that's how passionate they are about the football. So I've not really seen much of the other two teams as much, but you know, Al Ahly have been hit and miss. They've been disappointing this year, but they're getting stronger as the tournament goes on. Sundowns, you know, have won the league 5 weeks ago, so now that you know they're not really interested in the league as such. Even though you know
you were hoping
Rulani's still picking the same team. You know, so it's. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a tough one, this semi-final, to call who's going to be in the final. I've said from day one, you know, I would like to play USMA Algiers in the final, and that could be a possibility. Could be a very, very big possibility.
Amazing. And you touched on something there that I wanted to talk about. I mean, the Confederation of African Football, the governing body for the sport on the continent, has condemned some of the crowd trouble we saw in the Champions League at the weekend at Raja Casablanca and Esperance. The Reuters news agency reporting that a woman died in the crush at Raja Stadium where they were playing Al Ahly as thousands of fans tried to get into the ground. There were also ugly scenes at Esperance when they hosted Kabylie, when the home fans clashed with the Tunisian security authorities, and video footage emerged of a person walking around with a chainsaw. I mean, it sounds completely ridiculous, but if you go into your social media accounts, you will find it there. Given you spoke in such detail about your experience of the travel and playing your game against Libya and in Libya, and given what's happened at the weekend, as a coach who's coaching in Africa, how concerned are you about fan violence going into the semis of both the Confederations Cup and the Champions League? Is that something you think about?
You have to, because you've got to protect your players, but you cannot, the passionate these fans are. I mean, when I watched the game Halali the other day against Wynad, not Wynad, who did Halali win?
Raja, they beat Raja.
But, and then I watched Wynad played. You've got young kids in the crowd, 7, 8 years old. And you've got grandmothers, 80 years old, in the crowd that are all diehard, football fans. Yes, you're going to get your stupid element. When we played Usman Algiers in their, not in the national stadium, but in Usman's main stadium, there was I think 20,000 in the stadium. There was 15,000 locked out, which I couldn't understand, and they were causing problems outside, and we thought the kickoff would have been delayed at the time. Unfortunately, it wasn't. The amount of fireworks, the teams are getting the pictures taken, and there's firework rockets whizzing by my team, and I mean, it's great to see as a spectator.
Very colourful, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, not one flare; they had 10 flares, 1 red, 10 black, 10 red ones. So the whole fans you couldn't see because of the red and black smoke. They are passionate, they are fanatical about their football. But you've obviously got to take your safety. You obviously remember that last year in Indonesia, where that crowd,
yeah, and there was the crush in Indonesia, yeah,
a lot of deaths, and we can never forget Hillsborough, obviously, and you don't want that to happen. But if you look at the stadiums in Morocco and Algiers and Egypt and Tunisia, they pack them in. I don't think there's a regulation where you can only have a set amount of fans in one section. You look at them fans, and it's like the old days in England, when it was standing. Everybody's crammed in, everybody's squashed in, and it only takes one ripple to just start a big wave. And then, like I said, unfortunately, if that's true, that lady passed away. That's very, very sad for football and for the family. So, from our side, I'd like to send the condolences to the family.
Well, listen, Dylan, we wish you well. May you stave off relegation. May you fly high in African football, and may you continue to be your charismatic, fun self.
I'm charismatic. People say daft.
No. It's only Courtney. I was going to go. I certainly hope that when you celebrate next, you don't pull a hamstring like Jurgen Klopp. If it so happens against Young Africa, just look after the body. Good luck. Thank you. You're always welcome again round our braai. Come visit us soon. And for those listening out there, please go to our social media accounts. See what we post, OTW_podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Find us on YouTube and Facebook by simply searching for the On the Whistle podcast. And if you've come this far and you've watched or listened to the show, leave a rating, leave a review. It really helps people find the show. Good luck, Dylan. Thank you, Courtney. All the best.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for interviewing. Let me speak to you.